Hello mateys, this is Scary Scouts in Pirates of the Caribbean film series here. Captain Simon Perriman here. Today is Monday, December 30th, 2019. Then tomorrow will be the New Year's Eve. So tomorrow will be about the last day of December, last day of 2019. Usually we can do within the moments of 2010, 2019. 365 days for later after the goes off of the air after the 3 hours and 20 minutes. I barely could watch this on the USA. It goes on the air on the extended minutes, extended times, then but they're usually 365 days. Once it fall off of the whereabouts, then I usually could hang off. I usually could miss it before we could miss my friends to for the mid 2010s through mid 2019s. Then I saw amazement. So it's pretty sad to say goodbye to 2019. I just wanted to know we gonna have to making about whereabouts. So we can usually leave it about before and make up on the memory of 2010 through 2019. January 1st, 2010 through now December 31st, 2019. Every 10 years later, 20 years later, using the now for the clues in the 20 years now, and then now forever. I usually get a piece of the stories. If a storyline of 2010s it's barely used to be as before within the Mountations. Once they have once a couple of those thousand, I was gonna have to show you something about 2010 something. So I was gonna read this. Right about through the calculators. So before truth is, this is the first of mid 2010s. So I'm gonna write this one. So this one's about 365 days. I was gonna have to show about the mostly extreming. That's gonna take about plus 365 plus 365, so equals 730 days and 2010 and 2011. Then this one's there should be plus and times one. Then mostly discovered is look at this one, guys. 1,096 days, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. So I was gonna have to issues time about every 4 years. When the Democratic parties, all those people have the celebration about holidays and New Year's Eve and the New Year's. But that thing so it could be discovers to me. It really discovers my brother. It discovers my sister. It discovers my mother. It discovers my father. It discovers my cousins. It discovers my aunts. It will discover my uncles. Then I was gonna say I'm gonna calculate it to my added about 365. So and 2013 we could especially for you guys. So for this one's 1,461 days, 2010 through 2013. Then we could get the more about in the minimum wage. So I'm gonna say this one so the times 1,826 days, 2010 through 2014. That's about the 4 years in the mortgage at about the year of their life, a year of their life on Earth. In the mid 2010s, have about 1,826 days. That once it could be recalculated and out of the dose up. So I hang out with my families or friends in about 1,826 days. Only make it about 4 years in the minimum wage. It's usually out there about I went to the I usually when I went to the eighth eighth grade in junior high schools through 12th grade to the senior years. So I went to the advanced program to 2 years in the mortgage. That thinks it could be for the job. That thinks about they have a job size, then discover to the employment for the paid jobs. Then I was gonna add this one. I was gonna do you guys were saying this one? For that's right there. That's the one that you see anything to anytime. 2,191 days. So that as a colorful lines. That's once of the 5 years in mortgage. So that which means with 5 years and 2,191 days. So we can say like 2,191 days, 2010 and 2015 through 2015. 365 days for about 3 years, 366 days for 1 year. Then I was gonna add this one. So let's get this one about 6 years in the mortgage passed. So you know the same thing the word is. And this one's this program started new by 2,557 days for 2010 through 2016. And this one's a 6 years in the program. Starting new by one of the issues about the problems every 24 hours, every 700 days, 1 week, every 1 weeks, every 1 month, and every 1 year. Then 6 years passed at about 2,557 days. I believe it could be recalculated to one of the add-ups of math class with Miss St. Canellos on the first period. When I'm with the Emerald Ridge High School, I worked with Miss Tomaszek and Zach and Miss Denson, Donovan, and however Miss Layton with some job readiness for Miss St. Canella after only the 6th period. For that the meantime, I hopefully you can got this of about one for the process for opportunity. That time, I have to make it understand for my balance. So, 2,557 days for 6 years in 2010 and 2016. So let's go to the next one to about 365 more for the days. So we don't want to tell anybody. So almost 6 years. Do you know what year is this? So that year's in a couple of days. I wish you'd about to see this. Do you know what time it is? So that's the simple lines. Which things you've been a lot that those what we need to do is 2,922 days for 7 years in the minimum wage. Just like the boarding problem, just like the math borders. So like I said, just like every motion units, those classrooms units. If those that have 7 years and past, I can make it saying to make sure they have about 2,922 days for 7 years for that later the minimum wage. So you guys make it to understand from the balance, and you guys make it to understand that about 2,922 days, 7 years and or more engaged, then if that most of the being problem, everything could be the problem, and that most issues and that problems, and let's go to the make it about 365 more to go. So let's go to add this one, just like math class, and those who have the engage up thing. Do you know what we said about this about 8 years about the past? 8 years of the opportunity. You need to most extremely and about to see these ones. That right there is 3,287 days. That makes sense, and that's the correct. That's the correct 3,287 days. It was the correct answer. 8 years passed. Usually the before you got everything, you got the problems, then before I notices 3,287 days and 4 years. Mostly we have to completely, we have to make you understand what you have to say about is about time. So I want you to know to the shows about the 3,287 days. Mostly they're about the 8 years past for later. For now on, you can have one of those later. So let's go to the next one for the last one, shall we? So there. So there's where you got there. So do you remember from life? Do you remember you guys who about spent a hangout there about 3,652 days from 2000 through 2009? I guess so. I don't think so. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing it at about 300 the 3,652 days. So I was gonna have to see this one. So I would have to see you guys. So if that's the simple means, that's the total correct answer. As the 3,652 days. That's really the correct answer. 9 years passed for Bailey issues. That's what makes sense. Then that's what makes it the point that to make you the most extremely than the most. As to the 3,652 days, hopefully I wanted to complicate it for you at about from 2010s through to 2019s. Also 365 days, including 362 days for 2012, 2013, and 365 2010, 2011, 366 2012, and 365 2013, and 365 days 2014, and we got 365 2015, and 366 2016, and 365 2017, 2018, 2017, and 300. Let's try that again. And 365 2019, and 365 2019 for now. So spent a long time at about 3,652 days. Sometimes it's hard to make it to goodbyes to for a memory for you guys who about sometimes it's still alive. So even make it some appearances at about 2020. if you're making the most of it extremely mostly, it is hard to say goodbye to for the 2010s. Then 9 years passed. Bam. That's a long days to where you go. So I know it's hard to make it. It's hard to make it to see my friends, and families, and that could be easy too. Then it's usually I didn't know this about all these people wanted to say that's the 3,652 days, 2010s and 2019s. 3,652 days, 2010s and 2019. I would definitely wanted to see this since just look like the math, like I said, every 365 through 366. Those are the decided to we are agreed. So sometimes we're making the shures about times. So it's just a matter of time. We make a time, but we're making a time. We're making a timeline of 2010. So those are the guys are donating outside for inside. We make it 2010 to make it the vice president of community service club for the junior high schools and an Interactive club in the mid 2010s. I see Mrs. McMullen in about last 5 years. Mrs. Cushy, Mrs. Cow, Mrs. Howard to become Mrs. Richardson. I know the Miss Johnson, so I feel miss her for last 5 years, for almost last 6 years, concluded last 5 years. When I saw Grace and YMCA, she got a new job. She got the membership and the youth in the tour and making people coming in at about every day, mostly 7 days, and then 7 days every 24 hours. And YMCA is important about for the opportunity. Those we have to make survive, and to make survive 3,652 days. It was survived. Then sometimes Frankie, Bella, Mom and Dad and I was concluding what's the casualties without arguing, fighting, and pushing the shuffling and walkaways. That's illegal. That's illegal without the heat up permission. And that's what I say. That's what I'm gonna say. 3,652 days in the 2010s through 2019. That's it. Alright, guys. Don't forget to hit the button to subscribe to more content: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google, Vine, Cameras, Conquer Story, Conquer Talk, Tumblr, and likes and commission. Link in the description. And subscribe on the Majugger. Tell Majugger Nuggets, Big Jesse, and Big Brother Jeffrey Whichway, Georgie Starbarger, Larry's Lounge, Joe Bum, Tom Abraham, beside Mom and Dad, and Teresa and Jeffrey Sr. and Joe Bum. Just tell them about 3,652 days. So subscribe on DD33, Flinter, and the Call of the Wild. However, if you play on it to be continued for the game. Feel free to watch this about and the math of the call 3,652 days. Feel free to watch reaction there about mid 2010s through 2019. Don't forget, so keep it with your mates. Have a great evening. Tomorrow is the last day of December in 2019. Keep it with your mates.